Hi, welcome to Problems of Philosophy, a 4-week class for Lehman College, entirely online. And in this very first video, we are going to talk about the syllabus and have a general introduction. So, since this is entirely online, the best way to contact me, my name is Erica Abraham, is at the email that you see here at the top of the page, eabraham with 4 zeros at gmail.com. That's the one that's also attached to my YouTube page where all of these screencasts will be uploaded. I do have an office on campus, but I will rarely be there during this session. If you absolutely must meet with me in person, email me and we can figure something out. So I'll be available to you as the students Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'll have access to my email and I'll be able to work with you to answer any questions about the material or the administrative stuff of this course. The textbook is Exploring Philosophy, an introductory anthology, the 6th edition by Stephen M. Kahn, and the publisher is Oxford University Press. So the 5th edition has most of the articles that we'll be reading this semester, but not all of them. So if the price point for this book is a little difficult for you, you can probably make do with the 5th edition, but try and find another student in the class or maybe go to the library to check out the 6th edition to look for the extra articles that you would miss by having the 5th edition. If you do want to get the edition that we're working with, it's about $55 on Amazon new. It's a paperback, and about $50 used. I did see that eBay had a few copies for about $35, but I can't guarantee that. So it's important that you have a copy of the book for all of your assignments. Much of the material that we cover will be in the lectures, but you'll miss some parts of the arguments if you don't have the text in front of you. And then when we get to the midterm and the final, if you've only listened to the lectures, you're going to struggle a little bit. So the course learning objectives. First, we'll look at the course catalog, what the course catalog at Lehman has to say. It says, Introduction to Philosophic Thinking via a discussion of questions such as how should I live, what is the truth about reality, and can God's existence be known? So these are the big questions that a lot of people ask in a non-academic setting. So we want to think about what it is that an academic setting can give to us when we think about or analyze these big kinds of questions. There's lots of different ways to study questions like these. Students who study religion, they look to sacred texts or institutional traditions and faith to explore the big questions about meaning in human life. We'll see that religious scholars have an overlap with philosophers in that, of course, they both apply human reason in an attempt to understand the materials and concepts involved. Scientists also study these big kinds of questions, and they use experimentation and physical data that you can study with your senses. So the way they look at the big questions is they restrict themselves to what is empirically testable. And all empirically means is that which can be sensed. So science, of course, uses reason as well, but it tries to stick to things that have this empirical basis. When you drift off into reason alone, scientists are going to stop you right there and tell you that that's outside of their purview or the scope of what they're investigating. So philosophers, on the other hand, look at the questions, and at least traditionally, they use reason and logic alone. So we'll spend our semester trying to understand what that means and what sorts of knowledge can be gained in this manner. We'll see how reason alone can interact with both religious study and the empirical study of scientists, and we'll think about what reason itself is. My personal goals for you this semester are: number one, to get a basic handle on philosophical topics and the methods that philosophers use to study these topics. I want you to improve your reading ability and comprehension. That'll help you in many fields, not just philosophy. And to some extent, improve your writing ability. You're not going to have too much writing in this class, but as we'll see a little bit further down in the syllabus, you'll have some short answers in your daily assignments and on your exams. One of the most important things is to learn what it means to strive for the best supported beliefs about any given issue. That's a core thing philosophers do. When academics use the word argument, they use it in a different way than most people do in their everyday usage. It doesn't mean that two people are disagreeing, maybe raising their voices, maybe insulting one another. Instead, an argument on all it is a conclusion that has some evidence to support it. So the conclusion of the argument has some type of evidence or premises that are supposed to lend credence to your accepting of the conclusion. And that's a philosophical argument. So the world, of course, is very, very complex, and it can often be very, very difficult to judge, sift through the evidence to see what's good and what's bad. So a lot of what logic and philosophy does is to try and train you how to do that sifting, to try and always be refining your beliefs to get to the best supported conclusion that you can, given whatever evidence is in front of you. And if we do all that, it'll lead to number 5, which is improve your ability to analyze, grasp, and communicate complex ideas. So the philosophy department here at Lehman also has general goals, and I think my particular 5 goals up here fit into them pretty well. First, to articulate a diversity of philosophical problems or positions. That's one goal of them for you. Also, to identify and apply basic logical and analytical concepts and principles, and explain key developments in the history of philosophy. So the way I do this is not chronological, so we're not going to start at the beginning of Western philosophy and come up slowly to the present day. I do it subject matter based, so we'll hop around in time a little bit, but by the end you should be able to understand at least a little bit, an overview of key developments in the history of philosophy. So these 2 sections that are upcoming here, use of technology and Blackboard information plus the grading policy, these are probably the 2 most important parts of the syllabus, at least with regard to what I expect of you and how to get into contact with me. Okay, so you might not regularly check your Lehman email, but whatever email is attached to Blackboard is how I will be communicating with you. So you need to regularly check it because it's the only lifeline between me and you as the student. So the assignments for this class will all be in the week-by-week submenu of Blackboard. So if you're looking at Blackboard, and you'll see on the left a column of submenus. Scroll down and look for the week-by-week section and click on it. So I'll have modules 1 through 16. So that's the course content. Modules 1 through 16. Each one will have its own folder. And then inside that folder, you'll have links to the screencasts that I will give about the material, as well as links to the assignments for each module. So we'll see a little bit further down in the tentative schedule that there are 3 to 5 short articles per module. And I'll talk about 1 or 2 of those articles in each video. So I'm hoping, and the ones that I've gotten done so far, they're about 20 minutes a piece. So you watch the video, then you go back to the week by week section of Blackboard and you do the assignment or the assessment for that specific video. So if I post 3 videos, there'll be 3 assignments. And altogether, the assignments shouldn't take you more than about 30 minutes. So there's going to be a total amount of content per module of about 2 hours. So there'll be an hour 15 or so to an hour and a half of video, and then about 30 minutes of assignments. Okay. I have the link to my YouTube channel there, but of course I will link each video again in the week by week section. Grading policy. The bulk of your grade is the daily assignments, 75% of your grade. So you're going to want to follow along and make sure you don't get too far behind. And there'll be 2 exams. The midterm will be worth 10% of your grade, and the final will be worth 15% of your grade. So the midterm and the final, it's a short essay format. It's not really essay so much as just a long fill-in-the-blank response. So it's not like you're going to need the structure of intro, body, and conclusion. You'll just respond to the question. So 1, 2, 3 paragraphs. The daily assignments are going to be a variety of different questions: true, false, multiple choice, short answer, and that same short essay or short answer format. So it'll be 1 or 2 paragraphs. So the structure of it is down here. As if you see, there are 4 videos today. This is the introductory video that outlines the syllabus. There's not going to be any assignment for that, of course. And then there are going to be 3 more videos for you to complete so you can be done with Module 1. You'll go watch video 1, then you'll go back to Blackboard and complete Assignment 1. And Assignment 1 will only be maybe 5 to 7 questions. Then you watch video 2, come back, do Assignment 2. It'll again be 5, 7, probably a maximum of about 10 questions, depending on whether it's true or false or short answer. And the same thing for video 3. So most of the answers for the assignments will come from the screencasts, but there will be some portion of the questions that are in the textbook alone. I'm not going to start that section until Module 4, and that'll give you about a week to acquire the book. Every single module is worth 100 points for a possible total of 1,600 points. It's not just a straight percentage, however, because remember, back up here, the midterm and the final are weighted differently to the daily assignments. So there are 1,400 points that you can possibly get for the daily assignments are worth 75% of your grade. And then the other 200 points, 100 of them is worth 10%, that's the midterm, and 100 of them are worth 15%, and that's the final. So I realize that you all might not be able to work on it every single day for whatever's going on in your lives. So I will release each module probably around 9 a.m. the day it's scheduled on the syllabus. but you'll have until the following Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. to finish them. So this week we only have 2 modules because we're only having class Wednesday and Thursday in the way that I've scheduled it. And you'll have until Sunday, July 15th at 11:59 p.m. to complete those assignments. Then the following week, you'll have 4 modules to complete, and you'll have to have all of them done by Sunday, July 22nd at 11:59. Now, I am not going to give extensions unless you give me a written excuse. So if you have a doctor's appointment or something happens at work or with your family, those are valid excuses, but I do need written documentation. So don't put it all the way off till the very end, however, because keep in mind that, again, there'll be an hour and 15 to an hour 30 of screencasts, and they'll be broken up and won't be solid, and then about 30 minutes of completing assignments. So give yourself enough time to finish and go through all of the material. So the midterm and the final are a little bit different. You must complete them on the day that they're released. So whatever date I have scheduled for the midterm and the final, we'll take a look at that a little later on the syllabus. I'll release it, the same thing, around 9 a.m. and then you'll have until 9 a.m. the following day to finish it. There will be no backtracks on that. You'll have to sit down and take it all in one session. So you'll have 24 hours for each, the midterm and the final. Okay. So now I have a tentative schedule for each module. If it turns out that people are struggling or some other unexpected obstacle comes up, or if I made a mistake here somewhere, I will update on Blackboard, and if it's enough, I might even rehaul the whole syllabus. So make sure you're always checking Blackboard, always checking Blackboard. Put yourself into the habit. I will put every single relevant change in the announcements. Okay, so introduction, July 11th, that's today. Syllabus overview and general introduction, and then in the next couple of videos, I'll talk about these papers or articles that are in the textbook. First one is What is Philosophy by Monroe and Elizabeth Beardsley. Next one is The Value of Philosophy by Bertrand Russell, The Defense of Socrates by Plato, at least the first half of it. We're going to read the next half of it for the second module. So each of these articles are going to get their own video. So when you take a look back at the Blackboard section, remember it's in the week to week. It'll be listed as Module 1, and there'll be links to each of the 3 videos for What is Philosophy, The Value of Philosophy, and Defense of Philosophy. Then Module 2, Defense of Socrates continued. That's the second half. The elements of argument. Remember how I explained what academics mean about argument or argumentation. This article is only in the 6th edition. I'll always let you know when you can't access one of the assignments or the assigned reading if you have the 5th edition of the book. And then Improving Your Thinking There by Stephen F. Barker. You can also see that I put at the top what subsection of philosophy we're going to be dealing with in that particular module. So today we're only talking about an introduction both to the course and the field of philosophy. We'll continue the introduction in Module 2, and then we'll start on reasoning. What is it? And what sorts of knowledge and understanding can we get from it? Next module, reasoning still, and then we transition into what knowledge is. We do knowledge for a couple of modules there. We study for a couple of modules the philosophy of mind. And you can see down here, and it's July 24th that I have the midterm scheduled for. And that's it. That's all you'll have to do that day. And remember, it'll be short answer. So a paragraph or two, possibly 3 is pushing it for each question. And I don't know how many questions as yet. I will let you know as we get a little bit closer. Which, remember, of course, being only 4 weeks, this is 2 weeks away or so. I'll have answers for you hopefully soon. After the midterm, we look at free will, God, moral theory, moral problems, life, death, and meaning, and justice. Then the very last module, final exam. Okay. Remember, if you have any questions about all that, I know it's a lot, please email me, and I will respond to you in those windows that I gave to you Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you have some sort of difficulty outside of that time, I can't guarantee you I'll respond right away, but I will do my best to respond to you as soon as I can. So, accommodating disabilities. Lehman College is committed to providing access to all programs and curricula for all students. So if you need classroom accommodations, or if you need accommodations to help you get through the online class, please contact the Office of Student Disability Services. So this includes mental and physical disabilities. There are 2 tutoring centers for your use at Lehman College. The first one is more relevant to a philosophy course, the Academic Center for Excellence. And the other one's the Science Learning Center, which is also a wonderful resource, but a little less relevant to our purposes. So you can get tutored there. We have drop-in tutoring as well as general skills workshops. So if you're having trouble writing in an academic manner, or if you have some issues with time management, they have workshops to help you. Okay, academic integrity and plagiarism policy. So I have a pretty strict policy here. If you're caught cheating, you will fail the course. Definitely you'll fail the assignment and get a 0 for the module or the exam if your assignment matches that of another student, or if I recognize it as a source that you found online. If you're not sure if something counts as plagiarism, talk to me. If you're having difficulty completing an assignment, talk to me, please. Come early, email early and repeatedly until all of your issues are worked out. I will help you as best I can. So Lehman College has their own statements about academic integrity and plagiarism. You can check that out at the student handbook. I put a link there for you. The course policies here. Again, contacting me, email is best. I'll be at my desk Monday through Thursday, 10 to 6 p.m. Check your Lehman email regularly. I would say at least once a day. I will always put out updates and amendments and changes on Blackboard, but if I have to contact you personally or the class in general, it will be through email. Evaluating your work. So when you have the short answers, I am obviously going to have to grade those myself. They're not automatically graded like the true-false might be. So in order to give your work the consideration it deserves, give you enough feedback so you can improve, it says 2 weeks. I did not change it. That's for the regular semester. But it might take me a couple of days to get back to you and finish the assessments. Okay. exams and presentations, we don't have any presentations in this course, but for the exams, there will be no exam makeups barring extraordinary circumstances. Also, keep it in mind that you have to do everything to pass the course. And what that means is if you do all the daily modules and you miss the final and the midterm, you still can't pass the course. That doesn't mean if you miss one module, I'm not going to let you pass the course. But it does mean for those three major sections, the midterm, the final, and the daily coursework, if you pick one of them to completely not do, 0%, then I can't pass you in the course. I think that wraps up the admin stuff. Like I said, and I'll keep saying it, if you have questions, email me. And take a look in the week-by-week section in Blackboard for the next part of Module 1.